Has anyone ever sat you down and told you what life really feels like after 80? It's not just about blowing out more candles or taking mornings a bit slower. There's a quiet shift that creeps in, one that nobody talks about much. It's not loud or flashy, it's deep, subtle, and often left unspoken. A mix of hard-earned wisdom and unexpected loss. Moments of profound peace tangled with flashes of loneliness. If you're not ready for it, it can catch you off guard, leaving you wondering what's next. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on 5 brutal truths about life after 80. Not to scare you, not to bring you down, but to give you clarity. Because when you see these truths coming, they don't own you. You get to face them with strength, prep for them, and walk through them with your head held high. We're talking about shrinking social circles, a body that doesn't bounce back like it used to, the sneaky need for help that feels so foreign, a world that starts to look right past you, and the strange ache of old regrets mixed with too much time and not enough purpose. These truths might feel heavy, but they also open the door to resilience, acceptance, and a chance to shape this chapter of life with a kind of dignity nobody can put into words. Let's unpack what life after 80 really looks like and how you can meet it with open eyes, steady hands, and a heart ready to keep going. Here we go. The first truth doesn't hit your body, it hits your heart, and it's a slow burn. The people who used to fill your life with laughter, stories, and late-night chats start to slip away, often without a heads up. Friends pass on, neighbors pack up and move, siblings grow quieter, and even those lifelong pals who used to call every week might now only check in every few months. It's not that they've stopped, caring life just happens. People get busy, distracted, or caught up in their own struggles, whether it's their kids, their jobs, or their own aging battles. But man, when you notice it, it leaves a hollow spot. You wake up one morning, and the phone's gone silent. Invitations to barbecues or card nights taper off. Family visits, once long and lively, feel rushed, like everyone's got one foot out the door. This shift isn't something you see coming in your 60s or even your 70s, when life still buzzes with activity. Back then, your social world feels solid, friends are still around, family gatherings are regular, and there's always someone to share a coffee with. But after 80, something changes. You start outliving your circle. You move faster than their calls or visits. It's so gradual, it's like watching a sunset. You don't notice the light fading until it's almost dark. And when it hits, it's not always a loud loneliness. Sometimes it's just the stillness of an evening alone, the quiet of a house that used to hum with voices, or the pang of realizing the list of people who really get you is shrinking. Take George, an 83-year-old from Portland, Oregon, who was practically a legend at his local diner. Every morning, he'd slide into his usual spot at the counter, trading stories with the waitstaff and buddies who'd swing by. It was his rhythm, his anchor. The waitresses knew his order black coffee. 2 sugar sand his friends knew to find him there. But over time, the stools around him emptied. Some friends passed away, others moved to be near their kids, and a few just stopped coming, maybe too tired to drive. "It's weird," George said one day, stirring his coffee, his eyes on the empty counter. "I used to be the guy everyone knew. Now I'm just the old man in the corner watching the world go by." That kind of loneliness doesn't scream at whispers. It's the quiet of a phone that doesn't ring, a mailbox that stays empty, or a walk through the neighborhood where nobody waves anymore. But here's where it gets powerful. Knowing this truth means you can do something about it. You can't stop time, but you can build new bridges. Maybe it's joining a local knitting group, signing up for a senior center's movie night, or just picking up the phone to call someone you haven't talked to in years. Connection doesn't walk to your door like it used to. You've got to step out and grab it. It takes guts, no doubt. But think about it. You've made it to 80. You've got stories, wisdom, and a lifetime of grit. That courage to reach out? It's already in you, waiting to be used. I met Clara, an 85-year-old from Halifax, who felt this fade too. She used to host Sunday dinners for her neighbors, her house full of chatter and warmth. But as her friends aged, those dinners stopped. She felt the silence creeping in, but instead of letting it win, she started writing letters to old friends and even joined a community choir. "I'm no singer," she laughed, "but I show up, and that's enough." Those small steps brought new faces into her life, not replacing the old ones, but adding new light. This truth is just the beginning, and the next one hits even deeper. Drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're with me, and let's keep going. When you hit 80, your body stops being subtle, starts shouting. Those little aches you used to shake off with a stretch or a good night's sleep, they don't leave so easily now. That tiredness you could nap away, it sticks around, spilling into the next day, maybe the next week. The brutal truth is, after 80, even the smallest health hiccup can turn your life upside down in a heartbeat. You might start the day feeling great, maybe even take a walk or water your plants. But by nightfall, something's off a dizzy spell. A sharp pain in your hip, a cough that lingers longer than it should. Next thing you know, you're in a doctor's office, hearing terms like tests or admission. Things you used to brush off with a day of rest now demand real attention. And normal doesn't always come back. It's not just the physical pain that's hard, it's the unpredictability. You can do everything right, eat your greens, stay active, get your 8 hours and still feel like your body's playing by its own rules. A wrong step on the porch could mean weeks of recovery. A cold that used to last a few days might knock you out for a month. Even when you heal, things might not snap back to how they were. Your balance might feel wobblier, your breath a bit harder to catch, your energy like a battery that never fully charges. It's like your body's rewriting the script, and you're no longer the director. Consider Betty, an 82-year-old from Toronto who was sharp as a tack and fiercely independent. She loved her backyard garden, tending to her tomatoes and zucchini with pride. She'd walk her dog, Max, around the block every evening, waving to neighbors. But one afternoon, she tripped while pulling weeds. It wasn't a dramatic fall, no broken bones, just a sore ankle. She figured a few days' rest would fix it. But weeks turned into months, and the soreness lingered. Her strength faded, and so did her confidence. She stopped gardening, skipped her walks with Max. "I thought I'd just take a break," she told me, her voice heavy. But my body decided it was more like a full stop. That small stumble didn't just change her routine. It changed how she saw herself. I also knew Tom, an 81-year-old from Manchester who loved fixing up old radios in his shed. A minor bout of flu hit him hard, and what he thought was a quick recovery turned into weeks of feeling drained. "I used to bounce back," he said, shaking his head. "Now it's like my body's forgotten how." That's the kicker. After 80, rest isn't always a reset button. If you're not careful, a pause can spiral into a loss of strength or mobility. But even if you're careful, your body might still decide to slow down. The power here is in knowing this and adapting. You start treating your energy like a precious resource, not a guarantee. You move slower, but with intention, like a painter choosing each brushstroke carefully. You rest longer, but with purpose, knowing it's fuel for your spirit. You listen to your body, not out of fear, but out of respect for the decades it's carried you. A cane, a hearing aid, a daily check-in with a doctor, these aren't defeats. They're tools to keep your spark alive. And a slower body? It can still carry a fierce, vibrant soul. This one's tough, but the next truth might hit even harder. Drop a 2 in the comments to let me know you're still here. And let's keep moving. No matter how fiercely independent you've been, whether you built your own business, raised a family, or climbed mountains in your youth zone, of the toughest truths after 80 is that you start needing help with things you never thought twice about. It's not a sudden switch. It creeps in like fog rolling over a lake. One day, you realize you're dodging the top shelf in the pantry. You're holding the staircase railing a little tighter. You pause before driving at night, wondering if it's worth the risk. Part of you still feels like you've got it all under control. But another part knows some things are slipping out of reach. The real sting isn't just the physical shift, it's the emotional weight. If you've spent your life being the rock for others, the one who fixed problems, lent a hand, or carried the load, needing help can feel like a betrayal of who you are. You might worry you're becoming a burden, or worse, start hiding what you can't, skipping grocery runs, pretending you didn't stumble while reaching for a light bulb, or ignoring that back pain that's been nagging for weeks. The drive to stay independent doesn't fade, it roars louder. But here's the hard truth. Independence after 80 isn't about doing it all alone. It's about having the courage to ask for help and the grace to accept it when it's offered. Take Frank, an 84-year-old from Chicago who was the definition of self-reliant. He'd built his own porch, fixed his own car, and raised 3 kids after losing his wife young. He was the guy everyone called when something broke. But one winter, he slipped on an icy driveway. No fractures, just a bruised hip and a bruised ego. He didn't tell a soul, kept shoveling snow like nothing happened. But his daughter, Lisa, noticed he was moving slower, wincing when he stood. She started swinging by with groceries, turning it into a casual coffee date. Frank grumbled at first. "I don't need a babysitter." But over time, he softened. "It's kinda nice," he admitted one day, "not having to carry it all by myself." That shift wasn't giving up. It was wisdom, plain and simple. Then there's Maria, an 86-year-old from Vancouver who loved cooking for her grandkids. She noticed her hands shaking when she chopped vegetables, but pride kept her from saying anything. One day, she dropped a heavy pot, and her son insisted on installing a grab bar in the kitchen. "I hated it at first," she said, laughing. "But now, it's my secret weapon." Help doesn't always mean people stepping in. A walker, a stool, a reminder app for medsthese are lifelines that let you keep your dignity, not lose it. Saying, "I could use a hand," might be the bravest thing you do after 80. It's not about surrender, it's about choosing connection over isolation, safety over stubbornness. You're not less for needing help. You're stronger for owning it. Because every time you accept a hand, you're giving yourself more time to do what matters most, whether that's telling stories, sharing a laugh, or just being there. This truth is a tough pill, but the next one cuts even deeper. Drop a 3 in the comments to let me know you're still with me, and let's keep going. One of the hardest truths after 80 isn't about your body or your memories, it's about your place in the world. Slowly, you start to feel like you're fading from view. Not to your family or close friends, but to the world around you. The cashier at the store looks past you to the next person in line. The doctor talks to your daughter instead of you, like you're not even there. The server at the cafe assumes you didn't hear the specials. At first, it's small, almost unnoticeable, but then it happens more. And even if you try to laugh it off, it lands like a quiet jab. Because no matter how old you get, you want to be seen. After a lifetime of building a career, raising kids, surviving hardships, it's a shock to feel dismissed just because your hair's gone gray or your walk's a little slower. The worst part? It's rarely intentional. It's not cruelty, it's a world that's too busy, too focused on youth and speed to notice the strength it takes to reach 80. Society forgets the stories you carry, the battles you've won, the wisdom you've earned. And if you don't push back, you risk shrinking not because you've lost your voice, but because people stop listening. I'll never forget Dorothy, an 87-year-old from London who volunteered at her local history museum. She'd lived through decades of change wars, revolutions. You name it and could answer any question about the exhibits with her eyes closed. But one day, a visitor asked a question, and the staff brushed past her, assuming she wouldn't know. When I asked how it felt, Dorothy gave a small smile, but her eyes told a different story. "I'm used to it," she said, but that smile carried the weight of being seen as a prop, not a person. Then there's Sam, an 85-year-old from Boston who loved his local coffee shop. He'd chat with everyone, baristas, regulars, even strangers. But over time, he noticed the baristas stopped making eye contact, rushing to serve younger customers. "It's like I'm a ghost," he said, half joking, half hurt. "You're not a ghost. You're not a piece of furniture. You're still here, with thoughts, ideas, and a lifetime of experience. So what do? You keep showing up. Share your stories, even if nobody asks. Ask questions at the town hall. Offer your opinion at the family dinner. Vote. Write a letter to the editor. Every time you speak up, you remind the world and yourself that you're not invisible. You're a walking archive, a keeper of time, a voice that still carries weight. You don't need to yell to be heard, just keep showing up, refusing to fade. This one stings, but the next truth might hit even closer to home. Drop a 4 in the comments to let me know you're still here, and let's move on. As you settle into your 80s, a strange stillness creeps in it, just in your home or your routine. But deep in your core, life slows down. Your days aren't packed with meetings or errands anymore. And with that quiet comes space to think, to remember, to look back. That space can be a gift, letting you savor memories of good times, old laughs, and hard-won victories. But if you're not careful, it can also turn heavy, like a fog that settles in your chest. Not the loud, dramatic kind of regret, but the quiet, nagging kind. The "I wish I'd called them more" kind. The "why didn't I take that trip" kind. The kind that sneaks in when you have all the time in the world but not the energy or freedom to chase the things you put off for decades. Nobody talks about this much. We hear about the joys of aging, the wisdom, the grandkids, the freedom of retirement, and those are real. But so is the question that lingers when the noise of life fades. What's my purpose now? If you've spent your life working, raising a family, solving problems, or chasing dreams, it can feel like your purpose vanishes when those things slow down. It's not that you're useless, it's that the world you built your life around has changed, and finding your place in it takes work. Take Helen, an 89-year-old from Seattle who taught 3rd grade for 45 years. Her classroom was her world full of kids' laughter, lesson plans, and the pride of shaping young minds. After retiring, she felt a void. "It's like nobody needs me anymore," she said one day, staring out her window at the rain. But that wasn't true, she just hadn't found the new shape of her purpose. I also knew Arthur, an 86-year-old from Edinburgh who ran a small bakery for decades. After selling it, he felt adrift. "I used to wake up knowing exactly why I was here," he said. "Now I'm just waiting." But Arthur started volunteering at a community center, teaching kids to bake bread. It wasn't his old life, but it lit him up again. Purpose doesn't retire, it evolves. Maybe you're not running a business anymore, but you're teaching your grandkids resilience with your stories. Maybe you're not climbing mountains, but your quiet presence at a friend's side means the world. Maybe you're not fixing the world's problems, but your kind word to a stranger fixes their day. The danger of regret isn't in the choices you made and lingering on them without turning them into something new. When you redefine purpose as being, not doing, you see you've still got so much to give. After 80, your greatest work might not be for awards or recognition. It might be waking up with a spark in your heart, a question in your mind, and the courage to say, "How can I make today matter?" That's not regret, that's renewal, and it's never too late to find it. Reaching your 80s is no small feat. It's a milestone built on decades of love, loss, effort, change, and grit. But with that strength come new challenges, some subtle, some impossible to ignore. Facing these truths doesn't make you weak, it makes you honest. It means you've lived long enough to see life for what it is. Sometimes unpredictable, sometimes unfair, but still worth showing up for. Which of these 5 truths hit you hardest? Was it the silence of a shrinking social world? The frustration of a body that won't bounce back? The humbling need for help after a lifetime of giving it? The sting of feeling invisible in a world that moves too fast? Or the ache of regret when purpose feels out of reach? Whatever it is, I hope you feel seen. Because here's the truth. You're not alone in any of this, not in the slowing down, not in the forgetting, not in the questions that keep you up at night, or the moments that make you wonder what's next. And here's the good news. Even now, in this chapter, you have choices. You can choose to connect. You can choose to rest. You can choose to ask for help. You can choose to speak louder when someone overlooks you, or softer when someone needs your grace. You can choose to forgive yourself for what wasn't, and honor yourself for what was. This part of life isn't the end, it's the deep part of your story, where every word carries weight, where small gestures mean more than grand ones. Your presence, your patience, your perspective, these are your power. Thanks for joining us today. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share what hit you today or how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts mean the world to us, so don't hold back. Reading your comments fuels us to keep going. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs and inspires. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.